Oh, look at that new main menu. That looks fantastic. Anyway, hi. It's been a bit of time. Not too much on this channel, about 2 months. But on my main channel, this is actually the biggest hiatus that I've ever had. About 6 months, something like that. It's a really, really long time. And it's, in fact, the longest time I've been inactive on YouTube. But the past 3 months, approximately, I've been working on a lot of stuff over the past 6 months. Ever since the last video dropped, I've been working on a lot of stuff. Also, look, the stars now move. Well, obviously, don't zoom too much on it, but yeah, because the sky wasn't moving previously, and that is something that bothered people, which I understand. I never realized it, but looking at night time lapse of Earth, yeah, that is how it should look, and now that is how it looks. Yeah. So in the past 6 months, I've been working a lot up until 3 months ago, where sadly, I kind of just tossed everything. I kind of gave up on everything. I kind of just completely... Okay, I'm going to reduce the player sound because this is going to distract me too much. But I kind of just stopped working. I just, for the first time in my YouTube career, I just stopped working on anything. And there's a good reason for that. For the past 3 months, well, a month ago and then 2 months from a month ago. So 3 months ago, it started. My grandfather, sadly, started having a lot of health problems. And about a month ago, he passed away, and it's been weird, man. It's been weird, because I know a lot of people are really close to their grandparents. Some people don't ever see their grandparents. Some people just, you know, have their grandparents kind of be a part of their life, but it's often distant. And I know some people are really close to their grandparents. And for me, I'm on the very extreme end of that spectrum. For me, my grandfather was pretty much a dad to me. My parents during my childhood. This is gonna get a little personal. This is gonna get a little personal. I should probably have the disclaimer here, but. Yeah, during my childhood, my parents never really had the time to take care of me. They were not bad parents. I love my mom. I love my dad. But during my childhood, they were very busy with their careers, respectively. And so the one who took care of me, the one who raised me, was my grandfather. And he's kind of like the unsung hero of my entire YouTube existence. Of my entire Minecraft existence, I would say. I remember, I used to play Minecraft on the website on the Minecraft website back when you could do this for the longest time, and I think it was around 1.8 something. I don't remember exactly when, but it was. I very vividly remember it. We were in the south of France on holidays because my grandfather had a home there. It's like not a vacation home. It's more like a barn that was like kind of like rearranged to be somewhat of a home. There's like a caravan in the barn, and then there's like a dingy kitchen and a dingy room, and this is where we would sleep whenever we would go on holidays. And I remember there's no internet there. Like this would be the ultimate test of might. Back when I was a kid, I don't remember exactly when I bought Minecraft. I could just go on MMC right now, but I'm gonna be honest, I'm too busy looking at the stars. Oh my god, Reach for the Stars is still so beautiful, but I'm getting carried away. And I remember I had been playing Minecraft for like about a year or something on the website version where you could access without an account back then. And at some point, my grandfather was like, "Oh, if you like this game so much, I'll just buy it for you." And so, since we had no internet in that in that countryside, we actually drove about. It wasn't an hour, it was like 30 minutes. We drove 30 minutes to the closest city that had internet so we could use a hotspot, like a public hotspot of a park, which back then were not common at all. Like they were really rare. So my grandfather looked up on the internet, oh, hotspot for subscribers of this internet provider, where can you get public hotspot from them? And we drove to that exact spot, and it was such a hassle. It was such a hassle to just get it, but eventually 2 hours later we came home and I had an official copy of Minecraft, and I was so thrilled. And again, my grandfather is the one who raised me. So whenever I would come back home from school, I would not actually go home. It would be my grandfather who would pick me up, and he'd take me to his place. And after I was done with homework, he'd let me play. And I remember he was supporting me every step of the way. Back then, I also wanted to do videos, and I was working on videos on YouTube. And we had the most terrible internet, even in the city where I live. We had the most terrible internet back in the day. My grandfather would let me keep his computer on just so I could upload my videos, because it would take like 48 hours to actually upload my videos to YouTube. And he would just let me keep the PC on, his PC on, mind you, his personal PC. He would let me access it just to play the game after I was done with homework, record videos, and then upload them. Sadly, I don't have any of these videos left. I have some remnants of these videos, but 99% of it is gone. All the interesting parts are gone. But yeah, and again, that doesn't stop there. My grandfather, when I wanted to go full-time on YouTube and had been doing YouTube a little bit, kind of like as a hobby, and I had the opportunity to quit my job. Like, it was at the end of my studies. It was at the end of my 5+ years of studies after the baccalaureate in France. So I have a computer science engineer diploma. And I was like, oh, I've got a cushy job waiting for me after my diploma. Do I just tell them to, like, I don't know, continue without me and, like, not hire me so I can go YouTube? And my grandfather, I very vividly remember, was like, just follow your instinct. If you feel like you can succeed doing YouTube and you want to do YouTube, go for it. Just do YouTube. And this... it is really hard to speak about him, not because I am still grieving him, even though part of me does. It's more, there's so many cool things about my grandfather. There's so many cool things about my grandfather that I want to say. And I'm going to get to the really, really good stuff in a bit. Trust me, it gets really, really good. It's not just me being like, oh, he took care of me like his own child, which he did. That is, you know, cool, but my grandfather was such a Chad. He was the coolest, and again, like the title of this video will probably be, the coolest person I've ever known and I will ever know. Again, the entire reason you're watching this video now, you're watching my videos on my main channel, he's just the one who's always been supporting me, and not just as a father figure, but, you know, he's always been there for me. He's from a very, very different generation. He's quite literally lived through the war as a child. And despite all of this, whenever I had issues, whenever I had concerns, whenever I had any doubts, I would go to him. I would ask him, hey, what do you think about this? And very often, because of, you know, he's my grandpa, he's an old guy, he's like, you know, he has much different views on society and things of life compared to me, who was born, you know, in a modern day where, oh, take care of your mental health. You know, he was born in a generation that mental health did not exist. Mental health was a myth, and he's always been the one to tell me every time I had something, it's all in your head. It's all in your head, which shouldn't surprise me that when I went to him about like me being bi, he was like one of the first people I went to about this, and I still remember. I still remember him going, whatever, as long as you're not a bottom, which was hilarious and was his way of showing support. And when I went for him about like mental health problems that I was having and issues, about potentially having DID, about potentially having a bunch of stuff that I will not get into in this video, he was like, yeah, that checks out. You've always been like that. That makes sense. From the person I was expecting to go like, oh, stop trying to be a drama queen, stop thinking those things. And no, he was just like, yeah, that makes sense. That completely makes sense with how I've seen you grow. And he's always been the one telling me to follow my instinct. And that's for a very good reason. His instinct was golden. This is where we get to the actual cool part. This is where I get to tell you how much of an insane Chad he was. He was insanely humble. He was insanely humble, and for the longest time, when I was a child, I didn't know much about him, just that he was taking care of me. But he had he had the coolest past. First, well, he started his life when he was 16. I mean, he wasn't born at 16, but at 16 he had to emancipate himself from his family for family problems to join the army and defend his country. He's always been one to put his neck on the line and helping people first before helping himself. And so he decided to, at 16, get into the army. He actually got into the Air Force. He wanted to be a pilot, and he was a pilot. He was the coolest pilot I've ever heard of. Look at this man. Here's some pictures that I found recently of him. Look at this man. This dude. Because he was a really good pilot, he was selected for a few missions abroad for France in the context of, like, you know, France's international relationships with other countries. So he went to Cambodia and became friends with the Sihanouk royal family. And aside from these international missions that he had, he also became a pilot instructor because, again, he was a really good pilot, and at some point he had the opportunity to become an instructor. And this is where they have the coolest story. See, one day I was working on a project for school, which was interviewing people about a subject, and the subject was engineer versus ingenious. And since after his military career, he reconverted himself into electronics engineering, he was an engineer, and I knew he was ingenious, so again, I went to him. And I very vividly remember there was one anecdote that he told me when I interviewed him that had my friends, which I had two friends interviewing him with me for that project, and they lost their mind. And I lost my mind as well, because after this anecdote, they were like, dude, your grandpa is so cool. You never told us your grandpa was this cool. And I was like, dude, I didn't know this. What did you tell us? Right. Okay. The story is basically one day he was teaching a student how to fly a jet. And so he was physically in the jet with the student. And at some point during the lesson, the controls, the joystick or whatever it's called, the control sticks. I wish I was as cool as him, but I'm not a pilot. But anyway, the thing you use to fly the plane, just locked itself. It locked itself. The plane could turn left, but it could no longer turn right. Or was it the opposite? I don't remember exactly. But the plane could not turn one way, and so it was stuck. And right then he contacted the station and was like, okay, what do I do? And the station was like, okay, eject, whatever. It's just a 40 million jet engine. Who cares? And he was like, all right, bet. He ejected his student. So his student got, like, shot up in the air and left behind. And he was like, no, I can do better than this. I can save the plane. And so as a result, he tried a bunch of maneuvers, and he tried a bunch of maneuvers with the side he could turn on. And eventually the joystick, again, the thing that you use to fly the plane, the commands, unlocked themselves, and he could finally turn again the other side he couldn't turn previously. And so he landed the plane back at the airbase, and when they opened the plane, when they opened the gear controls, again, I have no knowledge on jets, they realized that one of the engineers had left a wrench into the controls, or the gears, or the thing that allows the planes to move the tiny flip-flaps on the end of the plane to turn. That was blocked by a wrench. I don't know what happened to that engineer, but I think they at least got fired, at the very least. They must have been, right? And I think that's just so cool, right? He was told to just abandon the plane, and he was like, no, I'm gonna follow my instinct. I can do better. And he got into a lot of trouble about this later. Once everything was resolved, his superiors were not happy with him. They were like, dude, why did you eject this guy? I think the justification was like, oh, why did you eject this guy if you could save the plane? That's very unsafe. But ultimately, he kept the guy safe, and he saved the plane. So to me, I don't know, bro. I don't know. I don't think he's that much in the wrong. And if he is, that's hella cool. That's, rule of cool. You can't blame him. And again, I didn't know this at all about him, and my friends were like, dude, why didn't you tell us that your grandpa was this cool? And I was just, I don't know. I didn't know this, and I'm so grateful for that, just that one project that I had to do in engineering university, because, oh my god, I don't know, man. I don't know what to tell you. This is just... He's my idol. He's, again, the coolest person I'll ever get to know. And, when someone... not necessarily someone, but, at least for me, in my experience, it was with pets. I had a lot of rats in the past, and every time one of them passed, it was always, oh, but, you know, don't be sad because it's over, just be happy because of the time you spent with them. And that's really cute and everything, but it never hit for me, right? It never felt true. Like, right, I just wanted more time with my pets. And for the first time in my entire life, nobody told me this about my grandfather. Nobody tried to console me in that way. And it's the first time that I feel this is true. During those 2 months where I was taking care of him, visiting him almost daily, and just, you know, making sure I spend the most time I could with him, I was crying every night. Every single night I was in shambles at the idea of losing what is essentially the biggest father figure I have in my life, I've had in my life. And once he actually passed on the day, I was just devastated. But ever since, I don't know, it feels really weird. The day right after, instantly, no grief anymore. It doesn't feel like I had grief anymore. And again, I do think it's because I was grieving already when his condition was worsening. At the end of the day, after he passed, like 2 days after, I sat down with myself and I was like, I think I'm just genuinely happy I could meet the guy and he raised me. He lived a really nice life. He lived a very full life. And I was just happy I had known him. I feel privileged. But yeah, to sum up everything, I'm just, again, so happy I got to meet him and he raised me, and he's my legend. I'm not tearing up because I'm sad. I'm tearing up because, again, these are genuinely tears of joy. I'm just really happy. I don't know, sorry. I'm just sorry. I'm just really happy I could meet him, that he could raise me, and I repeat this, but it's just such a true feeling. And yeah, he's a legend, and as silly as that sounds, as cliche as that sounds, legends never die. And his instinct that he always taught me to follow, it keeps on living into me. And I'm just kind of hoping I could ever be as, like, you know, remotely as cool as him, which will never happen. But at the funeral, again, I remember a lot of people came to me and told me that apparently he was insanely proud of me, which, I mean, I know he had told me offhandedly a few times, but it was way more than I expected. The people were like, oh yeah, he would speak about you, how you succeeded. Even when I reached like 1 million subscribers, this is another thing. Like, he not only did he encourage me to follow YouTube, he watched every single one of my videos. Even though he did not necessarily really understand English, he watched every single one of my videos and would always tell me how he was, like, he found the new video really cool. And apparently that's also something he was very proud of, and told others multiple times, that he was really proud of his grandson, and that he was insanely proud that I was successful, that I was his grandson. And I'll never be objectively as cool as him. That'll never happen. He was too cool to even attempt, for me to even attempt to be as cool as he was. But if he thought I was cool, if he was proud of me the same way I was admiring him, then I feel that's cool enough. I feel that's cool enough. And again, I feel at peace with this. I feel at peace with his passing, even though I dreaded it for the longest time. Every day I would cry when his condition was declining. Every day I would cry, tell myself, what am I going to do without him? And truth is, now that is the case, that I live in a world without him. And to be honest, even though I was, very often visiting him, spending time with him, at least, one afternoon per week, not many things changed. And I don't believe in an afterlife. I don't believe in religion. I don't believe in heaven. I don't believe in anything. I just believe that whenever you die, there's nothing left of you. There's nothing left. You're just no more. You're just nothing. You're just dust given back to the stars, and you're just no longer there. There's nothing. There's nothing. And yet, I have this intrinsic feeling. I have this inner feeling that, again, for the first time, I've heard it time and time again, never believed it, but I do think his spirit lives on. And I do still feel like if he was here, because all he taught me and everything, I am the person I am today thanks to him. And in such, he lives on. And this is the one thing I'll regret, I think. I talked to him about Outer Worlds like one time, told him how much it meant to me, how incredible it was. And at multiple occasions where I didn't bring it up, like it was just like no conversation going on, he brought it up and was like, oh, you should make me play that game that you seem to really like, Outer Worlds, I think it was called. You should make me play that game. And sadly, I kind of, with work and YouTube and my life taking most of the time of my life, because up until, again, 3 months ago, I was just working nonstop, working all the time. Almost every waking hour of my time. I didn't have the time. I genuinely thought I'd have him longer. And I never took the time to play the game with him. When his condition worsened, I did bring a phone on which I could remotely Steam play and show him the game, but it's not the same thing as playing the game with him. So that is the one regret I think I will have. I never really got to play Outer Worlds with him. So there's a bit of regret here, but on the other hand, we've played so many games that there's not much to regret. We've spent a lot of time together. Hell, one of the games that we played together when I was a child was Adibou et l'Ombre Verte, which is like a child educational video game. And that game, there's the Green Shadow, which is an antagonist that actually at the start of the game steals your cooking robot, which is your friend. And at the end of the game, it's revealed, spoilers for Adibou et l'Ombre Verte, but at the end it's revealed that the Ombre Verte, the Green Shadow, is actually just a crab with a lot of algae on his back, who just abducts robots everywhere throughout the world just because he has no friends. And oh my goodness, he made me, after we finished this game, he painted a crab shell green with red eyes. Here's a picture of it. It's I don't know, we've experienced a lot. I also got it tattooed on my arm and showed him, and he was skeptical at first when I told him, hey, I want to get this tattooed. And then I showed him the actual tattoo, and he was like, whoa, this is the most stunning representation of it I've ever seen. This is the coolest thing. So in the end, there's really no regrets to have, I feel. And yeah, I just have a sense of bitterness that I could not experience Outer Worlds with him, but that is also kind of why I am in Reach for the Stars right now. I don't want to say too much, but now that I'm starting to work again, I do want to have a little homage to him. I want him to be as important to Reach for the Stars, in lore at least, as he was important in my life and my YouTube career. So yeah, that's kind of why I'm wandering around in Janus. That is not the homage. The next episode of Reach for the Stars will be. I'm not going to say too much, but I will say thank you so much for listening to me rant about my grandfather and my emotional baggage, or whatever you want to call it. And yeah, I really appreciate it if you made it this far. I don't really know what to tell you. Thank you so much. Thank you to everyone who still supports me. And show your loved ones and the ones that love you that you love them back, and spend some time with them. It's very important. Spend as much time as you can with your loved ones, with the people that matter to you. And yeah, tell your mother you love her, tell your dad you love her, tell your grandparents that you love them, your siblings maybe, I don't know. Just life is so short. Make sure to enjoy it. I didn't want to end this on educational life advice, but here we are, I guess. All right. Okay, bye-bye.